Hello crafty friends, this is card number 49 in the full deck challenge. These are collage papers that I made in my previous video that I used in an art journal. I have so many and I thought I'm going to use them on a card today. I honestly don't have a plan in my head of how this card is going to look, so I'm just going to work intuitively. If you'd like to see how I made these collage papers, I will link the video in the description below. I'll start by taking little strips of different color pieces and laying them across the card. No rhyme or reason at this point, I'm just laying them down. It is never too late to join my full deck challenge. Join it anytime. It's really a fun challenge to do. You can either use my tutorials to try different techniques and work outside your comfort zone, or you can just use them for inspiration. If you're on Facebook, to join my Facebook group, just search Full Deck Challenge Group. This piece I've placed in the middle that has more of a vintage tone is actually from an old calendar that I have. I felt the blue wasn't really working with the other colors, and I feel this one fits in a little better. I always say use what you have. Once you're happy with all your pieces and you feel that the colors work, we're going to stick everything down. I'm using Mod Podge for this. You can also use gel medium or craft glue. A common question I get is how to make sure things stick onto the face of the card since it has a shiny surface, and how do I prepare it? Well, I find that is very dependent on the type of card you have or the quality of card you have. I do find the really cheap ones that you get in the really cheap shops, like the $2 shops, have a very glossy surface and things do tend to not stick well. I buy mine from the supermarket or from the stationery shops. They're slightly more expensive, but I do find that just sticking with Mod Podge works really well, and I've never had a problem with anything peeling off. If you are concerned though, you can give it a very light sand to try and remove some of the gloss. I have heard people have used that before. I personally haven't, but it's always worth a try. I'm now going to add a little bit of stamping just along the edges, just randomly with some black ink. This stamp that I have is from a pack that I purchased off eBay. It was sort of a de-stash pack that somebody had, and I managed to get some stamps. If you don't have stamps, you could also use a black pen to do it by hand. It is though optional. I'm using a black fine liner pen to go around the edges of the card. A lot of times I use my sewing machine to stitch around to get the similar effect, but I know not everyone has a sewing machine, so there are other ways to do it. With a black pen, I'm just drawing very roughly around the edge. I'm not making the lines straight. They're sort of very rustic and rough, and then every now and then I do a little bit of a squiggle or a zigzag just to make it look a bit like stitching. And now to add some white splatter. I have a little pre-made tub of this watered down acrylic paint. I also have it in black for when I use it for splattering. I don't want to make a whole little portion of watered down paint just for a few splatters, so a little ready-made jar is perfect. I wasn't quite sure what to do as a focal point. I actually quite liked the card as it was, but I wanted to work on it some more. Maybe it's a good thing, maybe it's not, and I'm always using butterflies, so I thought let me use something different. So I had this mushroom stamp, so I've stamped it with black ink onto some of the green paper that I created when I made my collage paper. The mushroom stamp is from a set that was pre-owned that I managed to get off eBay. It didn't have a brand on it, it sort of just came in a packet. At this point, I'm not actually quite sure if I should have used the green because it sort of blends in a little bit too much with some of the background. Perhaps a turquoise would have worked, but I sort of just went with it just to see what I could create. A lot of times it's not about planning or, always getting it right. We need to sometimes make things that we're not happy with because that's how we learn and how we grow and how we experience new ways to create things. I felt that the mushroom was not really standing out, so I've taken a black watercolor pencil and I'm going around the edges, just trying to make it darker around so it can pop a little bit off the page. But then after that I realized that the black around it actually made it more dull, not bright, so I've taken my white Posca pen and I'm going around some of the edges to try and highlight the mushroom. I really want it to pop off the page. Trying to lighten that whole darkened area, I'm just adding some white markings with the Posca pen and just experimenting with a few more markings. And as I was doodling with the white pen, I thought, what is the best way to try and lighten the background of this mushroom? And then of course, it's all about my trusty old gesso, something that I use in almost every project. Probably my favorite medium or product is my gesso. So I'm going to use some of that. Just with a small paintbrush, I'm going to add it to the one side of the mushroom. So it highlights the background and it makes the mushroom pop. There's a good contrast between the white gesso and the green of the mushroom. I'm using my finger also to blend it. So it's not a straight line. It's sort of more concentrated near the mushroom and then it blends out softer towards the rest of the card. I'm really feeling that it's working now and I'm becoming much happier with this piece. I would really love if you subscribed to my channel. I have lots more videos coming your way. I do junk journal flip throughs, art journal pages, tips and tricks, and also make ephemera. Please subscribe and don't forget to hit the little bell so you're notified every time I upload new content. So I'm really liking it now. It's working out much better for me, and I'm just going to add a little sentiment onto the bottom of the card. These little words I actually got off AliExpress. They were a little pack of different sentiments. I'm going to just stick those down. The one I chose, I really like the wording, but then once I put it down, I didn't like the black. I found it was just getting lost. So I have the same words in the white with black writing. So I'm just going to swap it over for that. And then using my trusty fine liner, I'm just going to go around the words just once, just to help highlight them a bit and let them stand out more. Let me hold the card up close to the camera so you can see all the details. I love the colors and designs that are shining through from the bottom, the collage papers. I'm really happy the way this card turned out. I really hope you enjoyed it too. I really hope I inspired you to create your own. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch my video. I will see you again soon. Bye.